Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Thursday. It's April 13th, 2023. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. Who's out there? Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, Kelly. And good morning to all the rest of you. Whether you are here right now and you're watching, or maybe you're watching later, maybe you're listening to the audio feed later. Hey, I'm just glad that you're spending some time with us. I appreciate each and every one of you. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Brian. And I love when you say hello as you come in. It means a lot to me. Makes me feel like I'm not alone. We've got some stuff to chat about. We've got a new episode of Martial Arts Radio. I'm going to talk to you about my day yesterday and some things that I'm working on. What else am I going to tell you? I'm going to remind you right off the bat that you have until, noon today? I think we said noon today or noon tomorrow. Basically, if you want to come to the Martial Arts Symposium next weekend, you have to sign up like today. We're cut off registrations. I forget the exact time we posted. It's on all the pages. So if I've been on the fence, don't wait. Just go do it. Go do it. Go do it. Seriously. Don't wait. This is the wrong account. We have another episode of Martial Arts Radio, and I was going to remind myself what it was, but I logged into the wrong YouTube account. So we're getting there. Good morning, Nick. So how about you? How are you? How was your Wednesday? I had a pretty solid Wednesday. Did some great stuff. Did some good work. Things are kind of plugging along with regard to the training programs. I decided yesterday what the next one was going to be. I'm working on that on Tuesday. Actually, that's one I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. What else did I do? I went for a walk. Had 3 client calls. All 3 went really well. I was really happy with them. And I came home and I opened the windows. And I played in the dirt. And by playing in the dirt, I mean I got pots ready for seeds. And I was going to plant seeds yesterday, but by the time I got all of it ready, I didn't have time. Because I had a call with my coach last night and then was on the phone with a friend, and then I went to bed. But it looks like tomorrow I will plant seeds tomorrow. It's going to be 80 degrees today. That's crazy. 81 degrees. I've got the heat on now because it's like 35 degrees, but it's going to be 80 degrees later. And I'm not sure how much work I'm going to be able to get done sitting inside when it's 80 degrees outside on April 13th. Kind of crazy. Jenny says her Wednesday was amazing. Lilith took Lilith shopping and then had lunch outside. It was perfect. That sounds wonderful. I once again got a latte and forgot to ask for decaf. And I figured that out about an hour after I started drinking it and went, uh-oh. And that was at 1:30, 2 o'clock. And yep, at 9 o'clock, 9:30 when I went to bed, it was still in my body. It takes a while for me to process caffeine. But that's okay. I slept all right. I slept fine. Not going to make that mistake today. Good morning, Nathan. And Jenny also had a great call with her sister for her birthday. That's cool. Sounds like a good day. How about the rest of you? What did you do yesterday? My number one focus right now is still the training programs. Still doing everything I can to dial those in. I think I'm making some progress. I've got some more ideas on things that I want to try in marketing those. And just a reminder to all of you, if you have not checked out what we have, please do. If you know someone that might benefit from them, please tell them. They're affordable. A couple of them are free. Everybody do me a favor, hit that like, that thumbs up button, that heart, whatever you got in front of you right now. So what's today? Today, I think I have 4 or 5 client calls. The last one ending at 3, I think is at 3. So I'm going to go to the office. We've got the school owners mastermind happening this morning. Looking forward to seeing a few. Let's see who's here. Yep. Looking forward to seeing a few of you there. And that's been awesome. And then I've got 1, 2, I think 3 other calls with a bunch of time in between. Getting lots of work done. Chipped away at some other things yesterday. And here's the number one. So I was struggling. I didn't have much motivation yesterday morning. And I said, let's see what I can do about that. And I've talked a little bit about my use of nootropics. Caffeine is a nootropic. Technically, nicotine is a nootropic. Not my favorite one. I don't smoke cigarettes, but actually, if for those of you who don't know, nicotine by itself, nicotine outside of cigarettes, nicotine is actually good for you in limited quantity. It's neuroprotective. It's good for your brain. Did you know that? But I buy products from a company called Thesis. And they make a variety of blends. There's one that I use when I podcast. They named it Clarity. It works great. And I recently bought some more. I needed some more clarity, but they have these different blends. And I grabbed 2 that I had not tried before. One is called Motivation. I said, that's exactly what I need right now. Let's give it a shot. Took those 2 capsules, and within 30 minutes, I was more focused and turning out great work. It was awesome. And that pack probably cost me $3. Let's see. Maybe $2. Did I get $2 worth of work out of it? Oh, you better believe it. I got $200 worth of work out of it. Good morning, Liz. Dennis says, yesterday he lounged in the pool and played with cats all day. Perfect. Well, Nick, you and I are looking at different data. He says, not the research I've been involved in at a preclinical lab. It killed the test animals in very small doses. Nicotine can be lethal. I'm sure it can. I'll confess, I haven't done the research myself. Kelly says, oh my, good thing you mentioned that. My weeks are insane. We have another tournament this Saturday, bringing about 20 students. We have a big breakathon next week too. You may see a familiar face at that tournament. Frank went to the park yesterday. Later, I got some reading done and I moved my laptop from my room to the kitchen. I'm hoping it will prove to be less distracting there. I also took the dog for a walk. Sounds like a pretty good day. Stacy did some editing for a friend and we'll be finishing up this morning. That's awesome. Good stuff. Sounds like you all had pretty good Wednesdays. Glad to hear that. Now, today's Thursday, and you may notice I have my martial arts radio mug. Because on Thursdays, we release a new episode. We've done that every Thursday since for at least 5 years. I'm trying to remember the last time we didn't have a Thursday episode. It's been a very long time. Videos. Today's episode is called number 8, the unintended consequences of guilt. And this is an episode that might make some of you a little uncomfortable because this is something that I think a lot of people don't realize that they're doing. And it's a subject that I forget where we got this. I think this was Andrew's idea. I think it came from somebody on his end. Yes, it did. I'm remembering the impetus now. But we dig into this thing that happens all the time in the martial arts world where, sadly, instructors make students feel guilty. Here's a great example. No, I don't want to give that as an example. I'm trying to come up with one that's not in the episode. Brain's not fully switched on yet. There are actions that we take as instructors that are commonly held as being good and effective ways of teaching. But when you make someone feel guilty about actions they've taken, they are unlikely to spend time in an area where they may feel guilty. For example, you see a past student out and about. Hey, when are you going to come back? The instructor asks that in often a genuine way. They would love to see that student in class again. They miss that student. That person was great. They were doing well, whatever. What does the person that is hearing that feel? They feel guilty. Oh, I'm going to come back as soon as, or I've really been trying to come back. Right? Guilt. People don't like feeling guilt. And there are things that we do in class that make people feel guilty. Showing up late and punishing someone for being late. Why would you punish someone for doing the thing you want them to do, which is to come to class? Are they late because they don't care? Do you know? Have you talked to them? They're always late. Maybe you should find out why. Because when you punish someone for doing something differently than you want them to do it, they're just more likely to not do it at all. What if we taught technique that way? Oh, your front kick is terrible. I just learned it. Yeah, but do push-ups. What does giving push-ups as punishment teach people? That exercises is something to be avoided. We leverage guilt in a lot of ways, and it does not serve our students in many of them. And that's what today's episode is about. So I hope as you listen or watch to today's episode, it gives you some ideas on how you might have some unintended consequences if you're an instructor. Or maybe it gives you some ideas if you are a student and you're feeling guilty at some of the things your instructor is doing, maybe it will help you understand what it's like from their side. Good morning, Andy. Jenny says, oh, I will definitely be listening to this episode. Good. I'm glad. Am I doing anything fun today? Let me know in the chat. Frank sent over stuff for us to talk about because he's the best. And shout out and thank you to Frank for all of your work. Thank you to Josh for our theme song. Thank you to Denise for the audio. Let's see what it is. What are we talking about today? Remember that failure is an event, not a person. Zig Ziglar. Failure is an event, not a person. You know I don't like the word failure. To me, failure means you're done trying, as opposed to it didn't go right that time. But let's just work with the quote as is. Failure is an event, not a person. That's the difference from saying I have failed, not I am a failure. Very few people are failures. I'm sure that if we really hunted, we could find a few. But there are plenty of people who have messed things up. All of us have messed things up, at least sometimes. I messed some things up yesterday. Were they big? No. See, when we identify with screwing things up, nothing good comes from it. There is not one person I know that is incapable of being a huge success. There is not one person I know for whom the only significant obstacle between where they are, and them becoming a huge success is themselves. The more time I spend coaching, consulting, working with clients in and out of the martial arts industry, the more I realize that my work, whether directly or indirectly, and I have some clients who do not want to hear this, so I have to sneak it in there. They're the problem. This is everybody. Guess what? It's me too. The difference between me and a lot of others is I'm aware of it and I'm working on it, and I've got a coach specifically for it. I am the one holding me back from being successful. You are the one holding you back from being successful. And the more that we identify as what we have done wrong, the more barriers we are putting up. When you say, I am a failure, you're giving yourself permission to not have what you want. That is your choice. But why would you do that to yourself? Don't you deserve better? I think so. Kelly says, we are our biggest obstacle. Absolutely. Stacy says, oof, that hits, Zig. Oof. Yeah. Jenny's agreeing with that. So what do? When you screw something up, you try to catch yourself and the negative self-talk. And you take a step back and you say, okay, this happened. What can I learn from it? Because if you learn from a mistake, you're okay. Just don't repeat the mistakes over and over again. Sometimes you need a few reminders, or sometimes once in a while something creeps back up and you're like, you know what? I messed that up before and I just did it again. Okay, now I'll remember for longer this time. If you've come to any of my seminars, you know that I usually make an analogy with a baby. As a baby, learn how to walk by standing up and falling down and stumbling around a whole bunch. We don't yell at the baby, say, baby, you're stupid for not being able to walk. Guess what? Once a kid learns how to walk, they continue to trip. Guess what? You've probably tripped recently. It happens. Just because we don't do something perfectly for the rest of our lives doesn't mean we're a failure. And that baby learning how to do something brand new is not a failure. You are not a failure. You're practicing. This is, well, gets into reincarnation, which you may or may not believe in. But if you don't, this is your first time being alive. So give yourself some grace. Jenny says, accept that you made a mistake and find the lesson it taught you. For sure. Andy's working in the flower garden today. And Kelly says, supposed to get to 80 degrees. Main goal, get outside. Yeah. All right, what's our next one? If things go wrong, don't go with them. Roger Babs. I love that. If things go wrong, don't go with them. It just creates such a wonderful visual, doesn't it? We can take this very literally and look at it from kind of a self-defense perspective. I've said this before. It's not my line. Don't go to stupid places with stupid people and do stupid things. If things go wrong, don't go with them. If things are going south, pull the ripcord. Get out of there. There are a lot of people who get walked into very dangerous situations. It doesn't start overnight. And I'm going to intentionally avoid specific examples here. But you can all think of stuff. A little bit of creep. Just it happened little by little by little by little by little. Baby steps. And before you know it, you wake up and you're like, I'm chained in a dungeon. Hopefully not literally. Very hopefully not literally. But yeah. Jenny says, and I don't remember if he mentioned this on the episode, but he may have. Andrew taught us a great way to think about mistakes. If you make a mistake, bake it a cake. Celebrate that you took a shot and learned something. Yeah. We learn more by screwing up and evaluating that than we do by getting it right. When you get something right, you know a way that works. Is that the best way? You don't know. What if you only ever do that way again? You don't know if that's the best way for you. But when you mess something up, when something doesn't go right, you don't have to do it that exact way ever again. It didn't work. You don't have to do it again. Think about that. Which would you rather have? A bucket of potential options and no way to know which one is better, or a whole bunch of ways and knowing I don't want to do it this way ever again? There's a reason, and I've brought this up before, there's a reason that the happiest demographic are people in their 60s. Because they've lived long enough to know what they want to do, don't want to do with their time. They still have their health, so they can do most of those things, and they have the disposable income to do them. Life is about figuring out what you want to do by determining what you don't want to do. That is my belief. Take care, Andy. And we've got one more here. Your yearning power is more important than your earning power. What's another way of saying that? It's a word that I use all the time. It's my favorite word. It's a word that I think we undervalue dramatically. Why? Yearning, your want. When you yearn for something, it's not just I want this. It's I want this for a reason. It's important to you. What's the why? What's the layer underneath that makes it so compelling? Everything comes back to your why. If you don't know your why, you're missing out. Follow your why. If you have a good enough reason, you can do anything. How many people end up sabotaging themselves because they've ended up in a place that they don't want to be and they don't know how to get out? I was listening to the new season of Serial, and one of my favorite podcasts. And without spoiling anything, there's someone they talk to, because Serial is true stuff. I guess we could call it a true crime podcast. Kind of kicked off that genre, actually. And it's just really well done. And one of the characters in this story, this true story, talks about some self-sabotage, some very dramatic self-sabotage. It just hurt my heart. Because he was young, he didn't know what to do to change course. Yikes. And going back to the dumb things with dumb people, dumb places, Kelly says, we had a conversation similar to that in class yesterday, talking about people doing stupid things and warning them that when they become teenagers, sometimes they might be encouraged to make bad decisions. And hopefully they remember to use their brains and make the right decisions. Yeah. Honestly, I think adults make far more bad decisions than teenagers. And adults make far worse decisions in terms of scope. For the most part, when a teenager screws up, it's temporary. Not always. We tend to make a bigger deal out of it when they make a big mistake, because we don't want kids to suffer. But we look at the things that adults do and just kind of we're dismissive because they're adults, and They should know by now, right? Like that kind of stuff. If you figure out why, you figure out all the rest. Why leads to what? What leads to how? And how leads to when and where and who. You got to work backwards. You got to know why. If you don't know why, spend time figuring out why. The more specific and the more compelling why, the easier everything else becomes. And you can have more than one why. And if you're tired of me talking about why, you're probably exactly the person that needs to spend more time thinking about why. Because the only people who are going to be tired about why are the people who feel guilty, I suspect. Well, there might be other reasons, but I suspect people who don't want to hear about why feel guilty about their why because they know they're not living it. It's never too late. It is never too late. Never too late to change. Never too late to train. You think it's too late? Go back and check out Ron Van Cleef's episode. Guy started training BJJ in his mid-70s. I don't think anybody here is that old. Maybe somebody who checks out the show is that old. Reminder, it's never too late. There's always an option. You just have to be willing to go for it. Liz says, learning that I am my biggest obstacle also made me my biggest solution. Therefore, I am never stuck. Excellent. Stacy says, totally a Six Sigma process. Ask why until the answer becomes absurd. Why is the most important question? It is the first question. And it's a question that we condition children to stop asking. Why? 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 I don't know, right? We get frustrated answering that. Kids want to know why. It is so fundamental to who we are. We train it out of them. Don't do that. Don't let go of it yourself. If you've lost it, find it. It's the most important question. I hope you have a great day. I hope you do check out today's episode of Martial Arts Radio, 805. And if you have feedback, I'm curious of it. If you want to share it publicly, the best place is the Martial Arts Radio Behind the Scenes Facebook group. But if it's feedback you want to share privately, you can email me, jeremy@whistlekick.com. I appreciate you all being here. Remember, if you want to support, we've got the Patreon. Starts at $2 a month. I uploaded stuff yesterday. We've got the family page, whistlekick.com/family. I uploaded stuff this week. And we've got the code FirstCup15 to save 15% at whistlekick.com on any of the stuff. I found shirts that were supposed to come down months ago while I was in there yesterday. So you missed out on those. Those are gone. But working on some new stuff. We got some new stuff. Always new stuff. And I think you're going to dig it. Don't forget, pretty much your last day today and like tomorrow morning to sign up for the Martial Arts Symposium. If you have not done so, please do so. If you have questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me. Take care, everybody. I will see you back here tomorrow for Friday. Have an awesome Thursday. Peace.